Now, 16th June is marked as the Day of the African Child annually. This year's commemoration, which falls today, is being observed under the theme Conflict and Crisis in Africa, Protecting All Children's Rights. Now, as a member of the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, Ghana identifies with this year's theme in many ways. A prominent challenge in relation to the rights of children in this country is child slavery on the Volta Lake. Now, let's recount the story of a 12-year-old boy, Kofi Gilanyo, in servitude to his slave masters, as told by Joyce's Justice Bedu 2 years ago.
Lake Volta, the world's largest man-made lake, does not only provide electricity for Ghana, but also put food on the tables of many families who fish in it. But this lake, with all its rich history, is also a dungeon of modern-day slavery for thousands of children.
When we take the child, all the fishermen go and take the child to Toko for fishing. We use them for fishing because we, the others, we can go through under the water when the net is hooked there. So we send the child to go there to remove the net for us. But when they are going and then they don't remove the net, we force them to go. And then sometimes some will not come back again.
12-year-old Kofi Gilanyo was once a slave here. He's now free, but only because he broke his spine. He had a broken spine when he slipped in a canoe and knocked the seat with his chest. He comes from Adafiano, a village some 200 kilometers away from Pando.
My grandmother sold us, me and 4 brothers. She said if we don't go and work to take care of her, she would kill us when she dies.
Adafiano, a community barely 30 minutes away from Ghana's border with Togo. It's a coastal community and people here are mainly small-scale fishermen. The landscape here is very sandy. That does not support any form of farming at all. That means that people here depend mainly on the sea. Now, fishing itself is a seasonal activity, and barely any form of economic activity go on in the minor fishing season. It is in poor and vulnerable communities like this one that parents, in their desperate need to survive, sell off children to work in dangerous areas like the Volta Lake. I promised him I would look for his grandmother and tell him about his current situation. He had doubts about me finding her, but still had a message for the grandmother.
I feel like I'm going to go to the I'm going to go to the I feel like I'm going to go to the I feel like I'm going to go to the I got to go to the I don't know I'm for me.
This is Kojo. He's also 12 years old and one of the thousands of boys still on this lake.
What your
chiska saying?
And the to some mommy.
Hina catch you say what your chiska.
My sister.
Catch you dabbing.
I'll catch them Sunday. Don't know them by no, I did just Sunday no number.
No catch you saying.
I'll catch them so I tell me cheese can me, do me, I meant to me boss no me. Mammy, family, Mammy, rush, say, I went to me cheese can tell me, cheese can tell you, do me, meant to me boss no me.
Working as child slaves, children like Kojo, in this small island called Wudidiada, which means when you finish eating, sleep, in Ghana's eastern region, work for 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are given one small meal every day. But that meal is not even guaranteed. Sometimes they are denied food as a form of punishment. Ghana passed an anti-human trafficking law in 1995, but very little has been done in enforcement. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Adafiano.
Well, my colleague Felix Akoyam also tells the story of a 9-year-old boy who was sold into slavery at age 4 by his parents. Now he brings us more in the following story.
Papa no anadunu na papa no ba mmemme nchese time na aso na mmemme dem omumma.
15-year-old Kwame, not his real name, wailed in protest when he was sold for 15 cedis at age 4. He had just returned after playing with his friends, only to be told he was going to travel with an unknown man to an unknown destination. His mother had sold him to a fisherman in the Volta region due to financial difficulties. For more than 5 years, Kwame was forced by his master to fish at dawn on the Volta Lake. Kwame felt his dream of becoming a banker was out of reach as he spent his day from 1 a.m. to 7 p.m. fishing and working at home. Working on the lake as a child was hazardous for him and his mates.
Papa no ne blood abakubo nto akase se yenka jenu so se yankwa papa no basa ko bona menda papa no ba hwe sa me kwa na kro no me patle and me patana we piago na obubo kro no mu ba ko so me.
Apart from the dangers he faced working on the lake, he suffered various forms of abuses.
Ne banu ko USK na da shame I was started our basho.
This prompted his mother to rescue him from his master, but Kwame was unlucky again, as his mom sold him to another person for 100 cedis, attributing this to hardship. It was only last year that Kwame was fortunately rescued by Challenging Heights, an NGO which works to free child slaves. Kwame is now back to school through the support of the NGO. This is just one of many trying experiences child slaves go through. Though slavery is thought to have been abolished some 400 years ago, modern-day slavery persists. Child slavery is common in coastal and farming areas in some parts of the world. Children are trafficked and forced to engage in all forms of dangerous labor. Against their will, these children are made to work as sex slaves. Others work in plantations and fishing. James Kofi Annan, a former child slave, has been working to free child slaves for 7 years.
There's a boy that I remember very well being part of the rescue, that he had been trafficked for 4 years and I'd never seen his parents since he was trafficked. And when we went to rescue him, he was hidden and he was told that we were bad people. We were coming to arrest him and put him in jail. And therefore he was so convinced that he was not going to go with us. When he realized that we were good people, he told us about all his story, and the story of pain, abuse, torture, the story of deprivation of right, deprivation of food, medical care, and deprivation of any form of education.
James says Ghana has made considerable progress in the fight against the problem, but believes government's failure to allocate part of its budget for social protection is a setback. UNICEF estimates that about 150 million children worldwide engage in some form of child labor. Yearly, 1.2 million children are trafficked into various forms of slavery.
More on this in subsequent bulletins. You're watching News Desk here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly with some more. Don't go away.